Hey everybody, Eric again with Morris 4x4 Center. Today I'm joined with Jerry from Safe-T-Cap. You may also know his company as AutoRust Technicians. How you doing, Jerry? Thanks for joining us.
How you doing? Glad to be here.
Great to have you. So I see you've got a rear trailing arm mount section for TJ in your hand.
Yep.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us about how you came up with these frame repair sections?
This is a concept that was created after being in business over 30 years. Doing rust repair, we were trying to develop techniques to put vehicles back together safely, quickly, affordably, and that. And it was a technique of cutting away the bottom of the frame and making a kit that slid over and welded along the top. And we put many vehicles back on the road. Now it's turned into a product line under the name Safe-T-Cap.
Well, that's great. So I notice you don't have the top section welded in. Can you tell us why that is?
That's because the top of the frame usually stays in good shape. About 2 inches down from the top of the frame, it's still solid. So between what you leave behind after you've cut it away and then this slides over and welds along the top, between those two pieces of frames, you end up with a very solid repair that I've seen last over 20 years.
Oh, that's great. I've also noticed that you've incorporated some drain holes. I know that's a common problem with a lot of Jeeps, especially the TJ. They don't actually drain the water from draining out of the frame.
That's right. The factory didn't put drain holes in, probably because it was going to cost them an extra nickel a hole or something like that. And the ones that go to Arizona and California really don't need it. But in northern regions, they need that. So whatever gets inside the frame gets sucked back out again. It stays dry in there.
Oh, that's great. Very innovative.
Thank you.
All right, so why don't you give us a brief history of Safe-T-Cap and where it all began?
Yeah, it started out as AutoRust technicians back in 1977, and had a lot of people ask us to weld up their trucks and cars and Jeeps, and we were making Jeep parts at the time. So we said, well, we'll do some of that work too because we need to pay our bills, and that work was coming in. So then while doing that, we developed patterns and techniques for welding these vehicles up to make our life easier. And then that turned into hard patterns, then it turned into computer information on cutting machines, and now they're assembled in precision fixtures that we engineer. We'll actually buy a vehicle to reverse engineer our parts.
Oh, wow.
And then being that we're installing them all the time, we're like double checking our parts. So before they get shipped out, they're all been 100% inspected.
Wow, that's great. So do you actually have human beings welding these, or is it automated?
Yeah. No, they're all manually welded by good old Americans.
Wow, that's great.
Happy as can be.
Yeah, it's great that these guys keep the business local, and these are manufactured right here in the United States. We really appreciate that.
That's the way it's going to stay.
Great, that's fantastic. All right, Jerry, so obviously you make the safety caps for Jeeps. What are some of the other vehicles you manufacture these parts for?
Jeeps are our favorite vehicle, and there's plenty of them out there that need some welding done to them. We also make them for Toyota Tacoma. They finished up with their recalls now, so if you have a Toyota Tacoma, we make a full line of repair kits for that vehicle. And whatever rust is happening right now, Chevy Silverados have a chassis problems where the gas tank is attached.
I've heard of that, yes.
Ford Rangers, we have a complete line for Ford Rangers. And you know, we tell people they can contact you folks and buy it through you, through Morris.
That's great. It sounds like you really got all the bases covered. That's great to know you've got a solid product that you guys are manufacturing to help keep vehicles and people safe while they're driving.
Oh yeah, we consider it to be environmentally worthwhile too, because you're recycling a vehicle instead of throwing it in a landfill. And most vehicles, you can steal another 15, 20 years life out of it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. All right, well, Jerry, thank you so much for coming down. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
All right. Now, if you guys want to see the entire line of AutoRust Safe-T-Cap products, you can visit our website, www.morris4x4center.com. If you have any questions whatsoever or you don't see your vehicle listed, definitely feel free to call us and speak to one of our Jeep experts at 877-553-5337. Guys, we thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Eric with Morris 4x4. Jerry with AutoRust Safe-T-Cap. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you guys next time out on the trail.
Great. Thank you.